jumps out from these sources is how they frame Nara. Like it's this quieter, more peaceful alternative to Kyoto, especially for those who love the fall colors but hate the crowds.
It's a really smart approach, actually. Kyoto is amazing, don't get me wrong, but Nara offers that same incredible explosion of autumn foliage without the massive crowds.
And it's not just about the visuals either. The
Yeah.
sources really emphasize that Nara is packed with history and culture too. Temples, shrines, gardens, especially if you head out to the Asuka and Yoshino regions.
You've done your homework.
Well, I have you to help me with that. Okay, so let's talk travel strategy. Our YouTuber is based at the Teneji Miyako Hotel in Osaka. Now, that seems like a pretty specific choice.
I bet it's no coincidence. Being close to a major Kintetsu line hub is key for efficient travel in the area.
And you know what? The presentation notes you sent actually support that. They break down all the different Kintetsu Rail Pass options, and it looks like the wide area pass would be perfect for this kind of itinerary. 5 days of unlimited travel in Nara, Kyoto, even out to Aiz.
Think of all the money you'd save compared to buying individual tickets.
Okay, so we've got our base and our rail pass. Let's talk trains. You even included info on the Kintetsu specialty trains, the Anoyoshi, and the Blue Symphony. Themed train journeys always add a fun twist to a trip.
Absolutely. Just remember, these specialty trains are popular, so you'll want to book those tickets well in advance.
Good tip. So tell me more about them. What makes them so special?
Well, the Onioshi is designed with this full-on Nara period aesthetic, and it goes all out. There's a logo with a lucky bird, and even a special cream sandwich they serve on board.
Ah, I love those little details. What about the Blue Symphony?
The Blue Symphony is more about sophisticated travel, I'd say. Think retro decor, curated snacks and drinks using local ingredients. It's definitely geared towards a more mature traveler.
Okay, before we dive into Nara City, I have to ask about this quick detour to Osaka that the YouTuber takes. They head up to the Haruka's 300 Observatory for 360-degree views from Osaka's tallest building. Those views have to be incredible.
Hard to beat, that's for sure.
And your presentation notes have a really great pro tip for this.
Ah, yes, the sunset visit.
You get the daytime cityscape, then that magical blue hour as the light shifts, and finally the sparkling nighttime panorama, all in one visit. Plus, there's a restaurant on the 58th floor where you can have dinner in a kotatsu. Imagine that view with your meal.
What a perfect way to start your trip.
Okay, we're finally in Nara City. And of course, the first stop has to be Todaiji Temple, home to the world's largest wooden building and that massive bronze Buddha statue.
It's truly awe-inspiring.
The scale alone is impressive, but the sources mention that Todaiji is also home to a number of national treasures and important cultural artifacts. It adds a whole other layer to the experience.
Definitely. It's not just about the size, it's about the history and significance of the place, too.
And speaking of significant, we can't forget about that famous Buddha's nostril hole. You know, the one in the pillar that's supposed to bring good luck if you squeeze through it. I always wonder how these traditions get started.
Me too. Was it some spontaneous act of devotion or maybe a clever way to encourage interaction with the temple? Who knows?
Oh, well, whatever the reason, it definitely adds to the experience. From there, our YouTuber heads to Nigatsudu Hall, which seems to be known for its peaceful atmosphere and those panoramic views over the temple and the city. Maybe a good spot to escape the crowds.
Especially during the fall when the foliage is at its peak.
Okay, now, for the part I know everyone's been waiting for, the Nara Park Dare. The YouTuber really captures their, shall we say, enthusiastic approach to getting deer crackers.
They're certainly not shy.
I love how they're these seemingly gentle creatures, but they definitely know how to work a crowd for snacks. It's a good reminder that even in a place as serene as Nara, nature has its own rules.
Speaking of unexpected contrasts, the YouTuber then explores Ishuin Garden. This was once a private garden reserved for the elite, but now it's open to the public. It's a beautiful example of how these historical spaces can evolve and become more inclusive over time.
That's fantastic. And to round out the Nara City portion of the trip, they highly recommend checking out Higashimuki Shopping Street. Now, this is where I get excited because they specifically mention a restaurant there that serves amazing Kobe beef.
You and me both.
All right, time to venture off the beaten path. Our YouTuber takes us to the Asuka region next, a place known for its historical sites and a much more rural, laid-back atmosphere.
This is where things get really interesting, because the Asuka region isn't just about pretty scenery. It challenges some conventional narratives of Japanese history, with sites that predate written records, forcing us to rethink what we know about Japan's origins.
That's fascinating. And smart move on the YouTuber's part to rent e-bikes to navigate the terrain, considering all those hills.
Definitely a good call.
First up is Kameishi, the turtle stone. Now, this isn't just any rock, it's got this whole legend surrounding it. Locals believe that if its head turns west, disaster will strike. Makes you wonder what other stories these ancient stones could tell.
Right. It's a great example of how folklore and mythology weave their way into history, creating this added layer of intrigue.
Okay, now this part of the video gave me goosebumps. Stepping into Tachibana Temple, it's like walking into a giant jewel box. That ceiling, wow, it's covered in hundreds of these intricate flower paintings. It must feel like you're floating amidst blossoms.
It's truly a sight to behold. And then there's the Numinseki, the two-sided stone. One side represents good, the other evil. It's said that how you perceive the stone reflects your own inner nature.
That's pretty deep. Next, we get a glimpse of Ishibutai Kofun, this massive stone tomb. I can only imagine the sense of awe you must feel standing before that ancient structure. The sheer scale of ancient engineering is mind-boggling. It really makes you realize how much history lies hidden beneath the surface, just waiting to be discovered.
It's a powerful reminder of the ingenuity and skill of past civilizations, challenging us to appreciate the knowledge that existed long before our modern tools and technologies.
Then the YouTuber briefly touches on Okadera Temple, known for its role in the spread of Buddhism in Japan. The faded colors of the main statue hint at the passage of time, like you're peering through a window to the past.
It's a reminder that even the most vibrant colors fade eventually, but the impact and essence of these places remains. There's a certain beauty in that impermanence, don't you think?
Absolutely. Finally, we reach Asukadera Temple, Japan's oldest Buddhist temple. It's like a living testament to those early Buddhist influences in the country.
Incredible to think how a single structure can embody centuries of spiritual and cultural evolution.
Okay, time to chase some autumn colors. Our YouTuber takes us off the beaten path to some lesser-known spots for fall foliage along the Kintetsu line. This is where your presentation notes really come in handy because they list some hidden gems that most guidebooks wouldn't even mention.
You did your research.
Of course, I had help. First up is Moroji Temple, which is also known as Women's Koyasan. Just picture this. Serene beauty, bridges, streams, and maple leaves ablaze with color. It sounds absolutely breathtaking.
It's truly a hidden gem, showcasing a completely different side of Nara's natural beauty.
And get this. They recommend having lunch at a restaurant overlooking the scenery and trying Sansai cuisine. That's mountain vegetable cuisine for those who haven't heard of it. Can you imagine savoring those unique flavors with that view?
I'm already booking my flight. It highlights the importance of engaging all your senses when exploring a new place. It's not just about what you see, but what you taste, smell, and feel.
Next, we journey to Hasadera Temple, which is famous for its impressive 11-faced cannon statue and that incredible cliffside architecture, kind of similar to Kiyomizu-dera in Kyoto. It seems like a recurring theme in Japan, building these incredible structures right into the landscape.
It really speaks to their architectural ingenuity and their ability to harmonize with nature.
And to top it all off, we get transported to the nighttime illumination of Tanzan Shrine. Picture that 13-story pagoda bathed in warm light, the atmosphere enhanced by borrowed lanterns. It must feel like stepping into a fairy tale.
It's an image that stays with you long after you leave.
All right, let's switch gears to the Yoshino region now. It's famous for its cherry blossoms, of course, but your sources suggest that it has a whole other personality in autumn.
That's the beauty of a deep dive. It pushes you beyond those initial impressions to discover the hidden layers of a place.
So true. First stop in Yoshino is Kinpusenji Temple, home to Zengodo Hall, the second largest wooden structure in Japan. And what makes this place even more intriguing is the presence of these rarely seen giant Zhaogongan statues. It's like a hidden treasure within a treasure.
Always more to discover.
And while you're in Yoshino, don't miss trying the local delicacy, persimmon leaf sushi. I have to admit, I'm a little curious about that one.
It's definitely a unique culinary adventure.
Then we get a glimpse of the serene garden at Chikurin, a temple that also offers lodging. Can you imagine spending the night in such a peaceful setting surrounded by history and nature?
Talk about a relaxing getaway.
Finally, the YouTuber takes us to Yoshimitsu Shrine, which is known for its panoramic views. And while it's famous for being the spot to see 1,000 cherry trees at a glance during spring, it sounds like its beauty goes way beyond just one season.
That's the thing. Even the most popular destinations have different stories to tell throughout the year. It's about exploring those different chapters.
And to conclude our Nara exploration, we arrive at a place steeped in historical significance. Kashihara Jingu Shrine, commemorating the legendary first emperor of Japan.
It's a powerful way to end the journey, don't you think? You explored the modern, the ancient, the natural, and the cultural, and now you're standing at a site that connects you to the very foundation of Japan's history.
And before we move on, I have to mention another pro tip from those presentation notes. For anyone who wants to really delve into southern Nara, Kintetsu Gyoninmei Station is the gateway.
Absolutely.
It all comes back to strategic planning.
It's about finding that balance between structured exploration and personal discovery. You have the framework, and then you fill in the details to create your own unique journey.
Exactly. So we've explored Nara through modern eyes, uncovered those hidden gems, and really tapped into that rich tapestry of history and culture. But here's a parting thought for you. Imagine standing where Japan's first emperor is said to have stood. How does that shift your perspective on everything we've learned?
Wow, that's a great question. It challenges us to think beyond the surface level, to connect with the human stories behind the historical facts. It's a reminder that history isn't just dates and events. It's about the lives that shaped those moments, and how those moments continue to shape our understanding of the world today. Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it? History isn't just something in a textbook, it's all around us.
So much to consider. Okay, we've covered so much ground already. From bustling cityscapes to those peaceful mountain temples, ancient mysteries to modern-day travel tips. But out of everything we've explored so far, what stands out to you most about Nara? What really grabbed your attention?
I think what makes Nara so compelling is the way it blends those elements so seamlessly. The history, the nature, the culture, it's all intertwined. And that creates an experience that feels really special. It's not just a destination, it's like a journey.
You're right, it really does feel like a journey, and that's what these deep dives are all about, right? Helping you connect with a place on a deeper level, beyond the tourist traps and the Instagram-worthy spots.
Absolutely. It's about giving you the knowledge and the tools to craft your own unique adventure.
And speaking of adventure, I have to admit, I keep thinking about those deer in Nora Park. The way they just come right up to you, all gentle but persistent for those deer crackers. I can't stop laughing about it.
It's pretty hilarious.
Like, who knew deer could be such expert snack negotiators?
Yeah.
It really shows how nature finds a way, even in the most unexpected places.
Yeah, it's a fascinating example of adaptation. Those deer have learned to live alongside humans in a way that benefits both of them. They get their treats, and we get these amazing, unforgettable encounters.
And a reminder to always pack extra deer crackers. Okay, back to the more serious stuff. One thing that really struck me was how much the sources emphasized the importance of respecting Japanese customs and traditions, especially when visiting sacred sites.
Right, being a mindful traveler. It's about being aware of your surroundings and showing respect for the local culture.
It's about being a good guest, right? And being open to learning from those cultural differences. I know for me, one of the most fascinating aspects of Japanese culture is the whole concept of wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection and impermanence.
Oh, wabi-sabi. Such a powerful philosophy. And it's woven into so many aspects of Japanese culture, their art, their design, even their everyday lives. It's a reminder to slow down, appreciate the present moment, and find beauty in the things we often overlook.
Okay, so before we wrap up this Nara adventure, I have to ask. If someone is planning a trip to Nara, what's the one thing they absolutely should not miss? What's at the top of your must-do list?
Oh, that's a tough one. Nara has so much to offer, it's hard to choose just one. But if I had to pick, I'd say experience a traditional tea ceremony.
Oh, I love tea ceremonies.
It's more than just drinking tea. It's a ritual, steeped in history and symbolism. A chance to step back from the hustle and bustle and embrace a moment of tranquility.
And there are tons of places in Nara to experience a tea ceremony, right? Traditional tea houses, temples, even some gardens.
Exactly. And many of them offer tea ceremonies specifically designed for visitors,
Right.
with explanations in English to help you understand the rituals and their significance. It's an experience you won't soon forget.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything. Our deep dive into Nara is officially complete. We've traveled through time, uncovered those hidden gems, and hopefully sparked your curiosity to explore this incredible region.
We've gone from those vibrant city streets to the tranquility of ancient temples, uncovered historical mysteries, and learned about the most convenient ways to get around today. But more than that, I think we've really captured the essence of what makes Nara such a special place.
Absolutely. And now it's your turn. What part of Nara calls to you most? The history, the natural beauty, the incredible food.
What will your Nara story be?
Even if you can't hop on a plane to Japan right now, there are still ways to experience a little bit of Nara's magic right at home. And that actually reminds me of that presentation you shared with us.
Oh yeah, the one about creating a Japanese-inspired Zen garden?
Exactly. It's a great way to bring some of those principles of tranquility and balance into your everyday life, even if you can't physically be in Japan.
I love that idea. It ties in perfectly with what we've been talking about, exploring those deeper layers of Nara.
Mhm.
It's not just about seeing the sights, it's about bringing that feeling, that essence back home with you.
Exactly. And there are so many ways to do that. Maybe you create a mini Zen garden, try out a new Japanese recipe, or even just take a few moments each day to really appreciate the beauty around you wherever you are.
Little pockets of Nara in your everyday life.
I love that. It could be as simple as brewing a cup of green tea and savoring it mindfully, or seeking out a local Japanese garden and just spending some time reflecting amidst the peace and quiet.
It's about taking those travel experiences and making them a part of your life, even when you're not physically traveling.
And that's something we can all do no matter where we are in the world.
Absolutely. Who knows? Maybe this deep dive has sparked something in you, and one day you'll find yourself walking among those ancient temples, breathing in the history and beauty of Nara firsthand.
And when you do, we'll be here, ready to guide you on your next deep dive adventure. Until then, happy travels, wherever they may take you.
Happy travels.